or tunes in later. If you check this out later, feel free to write hashtag replay in the chat, in the comments. Okay. Hopefully people are off to a great morning. I have been working / overworking really intensely the past couple weeks, and yesterday I hit a bit of a wall. So I am still finishing getting ready, which for those who are interested, you might find it interesting. I know before I learned how to do this, I would find it interesting or figured out how to do it. Shout out to Senegal. Oh, speaking of which, I should get my TikTok live going too. So fun. It's been really both a little bit exhausting and very fun to push myself beyond my current comfort zone. Let's get TikTok rolling. So fun. Oi, oi, the violence. I don't want to see that. State sanctioned violence. No, thank you. Not right now. And we certainly don't need to live stream it. Okay, I think I need to update settings. Maybe that'll come in the next step where I say, okay, go live. Does it say what my live is about? I'm not sure. Fun, fun, fun. Okay. So yesterday was a session was kind of tricky to do without a bit of a crowd, or at least one person who was like, oh my gosh, I'm so interested in that issue. Because it's kind of one of those things that you're either interested in it or not, as opposed to some topics that you could get into them or you could talk about them. And even if even if it was fresh or relatively new to you, it still is like, oh, that's intriguing. Not so much yesterday's subject, but today I think has more specific and also broader appeal. And also we can be emergent and just in the moment. Some people are previewing my live. That's so good. So today's session, I want to share some key guiding values and insights. I originally framed them as principles, which is interesting because I've gotten a bit more particular about how I think about these things. Hi, Mitch, if you're here on Turtle Island, good morning. And if you are across the pond, good day or good afternoon. I'm just finishing doing my Musor and talking about what today's session is going to be about today. Oh, nice. Yeah, thank you. Good morning to you too. Boker Tov, buenos dias. Okay, how do we want to do this one? It's so fun. For whatever reason, doing these Senegalese head wraps, they're also like West African more generally, but based upon my husband's tradition that I got exposure to, they are whenever I do it, it reminds me of when I did Boker Or. It reminds me of when I did a homestay program in high school in Japan, and learned flower arranging. And it's not flower arranging, but for some reason it always reminds me of that flower arranging lesson. Okay, I think inherently, just because this head wrap has so much fabric, it's like just going to be a huge, like, my personality or my energy wasn't feeling like this bombastic this morning, but here we are. Plus it's like a creative, fun way to contradict white supremacy culture. Okay, it looks a little chaotic. Ooh. Can we get it? Okay, I guess that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I had a specific theme in mind, but I'm also happy to adjust. Okay. Did YouTube drop again? So I'm streaming both on TikTok here. I'm going to piss them off. Right? Right? Here we are. Whew. Okay. Let's see how much. So let's do like a energetic check before we dive in, or potentially dive into the material I have planned. Okay, my battery's not 90%. Let's put it on low power mode. On my phone, I have water. Have you hydrated recently? I haven't hydrated much. I did get my morning supplements in though, and I've been tired the last couple of days, so I've been forgetting that. So that was good that I got that in. Okay. Thanks for liking the live, Mitch. So I wanted to talk about this resource that I created um, a few years ago for the Jewish Social Justice Roundtable, and that I think is relevant still today in a number of ways. And it was framed as guiding principles for advancing racial justice. Oh, my iPhone is letting me know I got a very low sleep score. I'm feeling good right now, though. Luckily, my day isn't super busy, so we'll just take it a step. This Musar is so big. It's okay. This is like my internalized, I don't know what you'd call it, like internalized assimilation or something, or like in Senegal, this would be nothing. I just need to envision I'm with my mother-in-law or my in-laws in general. They'd be like, "Oh, Rafetna," like, "Oh, that's so pretty," and then just like move on. The height of one of my cultural like honorary moments was when one of my sister-in-law's sisters, so I guess they're also a sister-in-law, right? Asked me as a Senegalese Muslim woman to do her musor. Because people said I was good at musors, but when you're like interloper might be a strong word, but when you're like a guest in someone's culture, you don't, and they're also really kind and hospitable. You can't really fully tell if they are like just being nice to you, and like placating you, or if they're actually like, oh, that's really good. And so when I found out, or when my sister-in-law asked me to do her musor, because everybody in the family said that I was so good at it, I was like, oh my gosh, like they weren't just gassing me up, like they actually really think that. So good. Okay, and it looks like there's more people I can invite. I'm looking for folks that I know who may be interested in this specific discussion. Looks like Mitch had to run, but it was so sweet that he stopped by. It was so nice. Okay. Well, I need some water and hydration. Okay, there's chats, but I think that's just the auto chat. Yeah, that's just the auto chat. And what was the in studio chat? No, we don't want that. We want the public one. Okay, so I should go ahead and pull up. I should go ahead and pull up this resource. Oh, it's right here. It's right here. Look at that preparation. Oh, so good. So good. Okay, no, so they were just called guiding principles. But I wouldn't call them that now anymore. I would refer to them as guiding insights. Key guiding insights and practices, because I think of principles as more like something that is more akin to an enduring truth. How am I positioned on the screens here? I get to learn and apply this as I go in real time. Okay. Let's hydrate first before we drop this wisdom on y'all. Okay. Okay. So I created this framework that a number of people have found very, very helpful in terms of their work around advancing racial justice. And I honed it in for racial justice, but I sourced a number of and then refined and sometimes created these original insights from intersectional liberation work. And the principles, not principles, key guiding insights and practices that are based around Jewish midot, Jewish values and characteristics. So the list is, and then I'll walk through it. 1, building on our strengths. 2, countering isolation. 3, joy and fun. 4, applying a both and framework. 5, we all belong and are valuable leaders in this work. Yay! 6, acknowledging and honoring our mistakes and pain points. Shevira, brokenness. 7, I should have been saying the midot too. Why not? We'll do it for the last 4. 7, compassionate accountability. Chesed ve'achrayut, loving kindness and responsibility, an extension of the both and framework, or elu ve'elu. 8, an imperative to correct wrongdoing. Teshuva v'tikkun, taking responsibility for our impact and repairing. 9, I feel like I'm doing the reverse extended Janet Jackson countdown. Okay. 9, remain engaged and curious. Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and understand, learn by doing. And 10, faithful action and commitment. Emunah, faith or steadfast belief. This would make a good TikTok or like a series of TikToks. So fun, so fun, so fun, so fun. Yay! Okay. All right. So with that, now that I gave that overview, let's potentially dive in. So 1, building on our strengths. Mechayil el chayil, from strength to strength. Mechayil el chayil. I forgot how to say that in Hebrew. It's one of my favorite sayings and phrases. From strength to strength. Talk about appreciative inquiry and taking an appreciative strength-based approach. Our organizations are staffed with smart, capable, and committed leaders. Our organizations also have many accomplishments under our belts. We have everything we need to do the work of collective liberation / social justice / pick a form of justice that you are interested in: disability justice, racial justice, gender justice, economic justice. We just need more practice to build our confidence. Let me say that again. We just need more practice to build our confidence. Advancing racial equity and or collective liberation and inclusion. Did somebody just join? Hi. Hi, Lika. Advancing equity, advancing collective liberation. So here in this specific passage, I was saying advancing racial diversity, equity, and inclusion. But you could also replace that with collective liberation, social justice, or a different form of inclusion is an adaptive challenge we are equipped to undertake with patience and increasing self-assuredness as we go. So positive. Yay. Hey, honey bottle. The second point around a key insight and practice for advancing collective liberation is countering liberation. BREAT, partnership. Collective challenges require collective solutions. Impactful social justice collective liberation work can be difficult. It is much less so when we reach out and ask for help and are mindful of who we are asking. This work is not meant to be done alone. We need each other. And so that one piece right there is pretty key about being mindful around who we are asking, which isn't to say that we necessarily can't ask anyone to be in partnership with us, as Barbara Love demonstrates or discusses in greater depth really beautifully in a training she led for a climate advocacy group several years ago. I recently shared this with a liberatory radical nonprofit with whom I have the pleasure of working. I shared this video. So if you look up like Barbara Love and climate change, you might be able to find the video. And so when I say be mindful of who we are asking, it's good to be thoughtful about power dynamics. Going back to what I talked about a few days ago on a different live stream, um, of talking and thinking about systemic oppression and the different ways that we as individuals, because everyone, certainly across over the course of their life, will be a member of target and non-target groups, or oppressor and oppressed groups. So there's a multidimensional set of variables to factor in and be mindful of, to be thoughtful in certain situations. If we have an identity that has a significant structural power over position over another individual, that doesn't mean we can't ask them for partnership, but the way in which we ask and thinking about them and their timing, um, and being courteous and mindful of their needs is really important. And ideally, and this gets into some of that complexity, so this is like a whole other thing, but we do it in a way that is just thoughtful and caring and accountable, but not to the point of infantilizing. Because often people's, for instance, like say like white people or non-disabled people, or not yet, that's a better way of saying it, not yet disabled people, will not ask for partnership or help from people of the global majority or a disabled individual. And that can be, sometimes that's the right thing to do if that person is like literally navigating hardship at that time. But other times, and even still at times when we are navigating hardship, we appreciate being given the dignity and respect to to receive the invitation. And then we can decide if we want to accept it or not, right? So we counter isolation, breed partnership. Collective changes require collective solutions. Impactful social justice and collective liberation work can, in fact, be quite difficult. And it is much less so when we reach out and ask for help and are mindful of who we are asking. This work is not meant to be done alone. We need each other. Third on the list is joy and fun. Woo woo. Simcha. Bwah, 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 bwah. How do you like my Jamaican Caribbean air horn? Joy and fun. As Viktor Frankl beautifully articulated in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, we always have the power to choose how we orient ourselves to any situation with which we are faced. Given the heavy and challenging nature of systemic oppression and its various tendrils, such as racism, sexism, fat phobia, language oppression, xenophobia, racialized capitalism, et cetera, given the heavy and challenging nature of systemic oppression, it is helpful and productive to intentionally incorporate joy and fun so that it's sustainable and keeps our vision focused on a brighter future. And that brighter future is really what also can help us access some of that joy, is getting a very clear and vivid, joyful vision of what is possible in our future. Which, and to that, despite all the challenges today, there's still so many potential bright spots that are within the realm of possibility for our future. And so one of the ways we can cultivate and experience joy in this moment is to, hi, welcome, is to envision that feeling and engage in the context of your liberation and social justice work, in some co-creative magic and alchemy, and like a radio tuner, get clear of some of the joyful and liberatory and wise and brilliant outcomes we are striving for. And think about, as you project yourself into that future potential reality, really land there. Take, as one of my focus mate session buddies, Kate, calls it or I guess her psychologist calls it, and she calls it a neuro breath, like a cleansing breath where you feel chills in your body, kind of in tune into your body and also your broader auric and energetic field. And place yourself in that future moment and think about some of the elements of it, either specifically, my body's having a somatic relaxation response to my meditative state, either specifically or even just energetically. How will you feel? How would you feel if oppression has been toppled and if people are reconnecting and if Indigenous people are rematriating the land and if matriarchy is coming into being, and because we have not even necessarily fully eliminated racialized capitalism, but by and large we've just undermined and undercut it so heavily that it's not really a thing anymore. It's not really significant. And in the absence of that, there's so much more room for body positivity now that there aren't industries that are just so heavily invested off of making money, off of people's destroying people's self-esteem and attacking them. What would it feel like to live in your body and have people just love you for exactly who you are and pay so much less attention to that? We could do this visioning endlessly. So I want you to go project yourself into that future place and feel into it. Pick just one of those facets and feel it. What do you feel? One of the things, feel free to write it in the chat. One of the things that I feel is relief. Oh, what would it feel like? Oh, I can just feel parts of my body relaxing, like my belly getting loose. I feel like I would experience a lot of creativity. I would have more room for creativity, as Perdita Finn spoke about in a wonderful course I took with her. One of the things she found in her research is that many prehistoric, which is such a weird word because they definitely were existing within history, but a number of ancient civilizations, I like that phrasing much better. A number of ancient civilizations before, well before industrialization, in addition to a number of those, so not all, but a number of those civilizations being matriarchal, another facet of them was that they had a lot of time on their hands because they'd figured out working as a community by and large. Oh, that relaxation is really setting in. It's really good. Let me check and make sure that I don't have comments on the live stream. Not yet. Okay. On the YouTube and Facebook live stream. And so when you cultivate that feeling, so let's see, one of the feelings I felt was really, oh yeah, I'm like creativity, out of space for creativity. I remember when I was in high school, I really loved the arts, like really loved them. I loved painting in acrylics and creating abstract art, I was actually a very good, it feels weird to call it, but that's just probably adultism, a high schooler, like a screenwriter. I was very good at writing plays and dialogues, and I loved it so much, and it just flowed through me, and I loved dance. I just loved the arts in so many ways. But I had a very clear sense as I was becoming increasingly aware of American imperialism and other forms of national and international systemic oppression. I felt a profound obligation to, I felt like there wasn't time for me to do art, that I needed to dedicate my life to advancing social justice and, which was the word I used then. Now I use the phrase collective liberation. And this also gets to some of the very essence of joyous justice. So you project out. And so those are the two for me. What are the other two for you? And so then a key part of co creation is to be aware of that feeling that you will experience in the future and cultivate it and nourish it and make space for it in the now. Make it a central and valued experience in different elements of your daily and weekly and monthly rhythms. So in my case, that would be making time. Ooh, which that actually, as I'm saying it, this what's what I'm looking for? Like prescription for myself feels so amazing. So to make time for profound and deep embodiment of that future collective liberation state of deep relaxation. And also make room for the creativity that follows from there. Because our energy affects our system and it affects our mind and our senses. And by cultivating these feelings, especially while, for the most part in general, we are very much in touch with the painful and horrifying realities that the current regimes and systems continue to enforce and implement, it's especially important that we make space for expanded consciousness. And doing so will enable us to devise and create more creative solutions in the future. Sorry, excuse me, both in the future and also in the present moment, much sooner than you might think, especially when you combine it with other core practices that help to refresh and renew, not just regulate, which for reasons I'll get into at some point, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm opposed to it, but I see a lot of problematic dynamics with that broader cultural trend in the current zeitgeist. So not regulate, but actually help to reorganize and integrate and synthesize. So let's reiterate that principle, and then I think I will pause there for now. Key guiding insight and practice number 3, joy and fun. Woo woo. Simcha. As Viktor Frankl beautifully articulated in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, we always have the power to choose how we orient ourselves to any situation with which we are faced. Given the heavy and challenging nature of racism, it is helpful and productive to intentionally incorporate joy and fun into our work so that it is sustainable and keeps our vision focused on a brighter future. All right. So I suppose I'll do more lives where I take on 3 or 4 more at a time. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining. And I am sending you so much love. May you have a good conclusion to your week. Rosh Chodesh Tov. Rosh Chodesh Elul. What's the order there? Rosh Chodesh Elul Tov. And happy new Jewish month, specifically Hebrew month, and the month that is the lead up to Rosh Hashanah for those who observe. Oh, wait, it's only Thursday. I'm thinking it's Friday. I was about to say Juma Mubarak. Well, for the future, Shabbat Shalom, Juma Mubarak. And I hope you have a pleasant rest of the week. Thank you so much for joining. If you tuned in, and take good care. Bye for now.
need to run. Let's go. You know, Musa, if you do the bad stuff, the bad ghost is gonna come eat you. I don't want that to happen. So be a good boy. Come here before the tree ghost comes. Taknila. Close your eyes and go to sleep before the third ghost comes. Did you hear that? The big black ghost is coming. We need to run. Let's go. Oh. You know, Musa, if you do the bad stuff, the bad.
Making friends did not come easily to me. I remember being 7 and I was like, oh, Rachel.
Get a relational repair plan in place. One. The 4 eyes are a cyclical loop that gain momentum and that are constantly under. The 4 eyes are a cyclical loop that gain momentum and that are constantly undermining so many things that you do. And so one way you can start to break this is understanding
between the AI industry and colonialism. They lay claim to resources that are not their own. They take data from individual.
that gain momentum and that are constantly undermining so many things that you do. So one way you can start to break this is Oi! I didn't realize this was still running. That's so annoying.